People hear food allergies and automatically think food, but there's an entire human experience behind it. I'm Kassidy Allen, and this is for the conversations that we don't talk about enough. Welcome to Beyond the Label with Asterisks. Welcome back to Beyond the Label with Asterisks. I'm your host, Kassidy Allen. If you've ever caught yourself wondering whether food allergies mean you'll have to say no to studying abroad, traveling the world, or just chasing the life that you've always imagined or dreamt for yourself, then this episode is for you. Today I'm joined by Catherine, the creator behind Cook It Up, Catherine. Catherine is allergic to dairy, eggs, peanuts, and tree nuts, and she has spent her entire life proving that allergies don't have to shrink your world. They just require a different way of navigating it and a different level of preparation. She recently graduated from Tufts University with a degree in human factors and engineering psychology. And now she's heading to Scotland this fall to pursue her master's in marketing at the University of St. Andrews. And somewhere in between, she's managed to study abroad multiple times, travel extensively, publish an allergy-friendly cookbook, which is so cool. I can't wait for you guys to hear more about that, and become the kind of person who just genuinely loves to try new things, new experiences, and not let her allergies limit her life. And what I love most about Catherine's perspective is that she doesn't just pretend food allergies are easy. Instead, she's learned how to build confidence, trust herself, and advocate for what she needs without letting fear or uncertainty make every single decision for her. So, in today's conversation, we talk about studying abroad with food allergies, navigating college life, travel, finding freedom without being completely reckless, and why living with food allergies should never stop you from building a life that you're excited about. So, let's get beyond the label. Here's my conversation with Catherine. Thank you so much for joining on the podcast. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited to talk about things, have just a really cool and awesome conversation. So first, before we kind of get into the nitty-gritty stuff, give me a little elevator pitch. Tell me a little bit about you for people that might not know your following or what you do or your allergies. A little rundown.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, thank you so much for having me on here. I'm really excited. I'm really passionate about talking about allergies. I've grown up with food allergies since I was like a couple months old, I guess. And now I'm 22, so it's been a long run with all of that. And a lot of like cooking from home growing up really got me interested in writing recipes and just excited about that because I couldn't eat out at restaurants for so long because when you're a kid, it's kind of trickier and you're a little pickier. And I've since branched out. But when I was that young age, cooking recipes and wanting to try new things, that was such an outlet for me to feel okay about having allergies because it didn't feel like I had allergies in my own kitchen. And then I turned a lot of those recipes into an allergy cookbook that I published. And so on social media, I'm known as Cook It Up, Catherine, because my book is Cook It Up. And it's a bunch of allergy-friendly recipes with like a healthy food sort of focus. And yeah, it's just been something I've been passionate about, sharing recipes and now branching out a little bit more into content and just trying to spread awareness about allergies because it's so important and it's been a great way to connect with other people on the topic.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's just like something I would use that as my fun fact. Like if anyone was like, what's a fun fact?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I was going to say that's like such a good fun fact. Okay. So many questions about the cookbook and everything. Cause that's just so cool, especially like such a young age. Like you're still so young and that's just so cool. And like, you should be so proud of yourself cause that's not an easy thing to do. So that's awesome. Did the process look like of making that, publishing it, all of the things?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I have to think back a little bit because I published it 8 years ago now, which is bizarre. But the process was a lot of just I would like scribble down recipes in a notebook, type some stuff out, but I think that was the point where I didn't have like a laptop of my own, so I was like
Mhm.
on my mom's computer like
Yeah.
typing eventually. But yeah, a lot of like writing down, a lot of recipe testing. I would get home from school and be like, I want to make this, and then I would write the recipe up. Um, so a lot of that, and then it got to the point where I was like, okay, I have so many recipes that I've created. Is there something I can do with it? And I wanted to originally make a cookbook for teens to like
Okay.
learn how to cook, kind of have that be the outlet, and then I switched to make it more allergy focused. Once I realized that was kind of a important pocket, and I'm really glad I did.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. And what's been your favorite recipe in the book or just, like, in general that you've found?
In the book, it's I have a potato fennel soup recipe.
Okay.
I really love that one. And then I've since like written some recipes on a recipe blog on my website and then
Mhm.
Substack a little bit when I have time. Trying to think. I love any fresh salad recipe. I try to
'Kay.
get creative during the summer months, especially.
That's so cool. I
Yeah.
think that's just, like, especially at such a young age, being able to come up with that just, like, off your brain, just, like, thinking of recipes and has is cooking, like, a big thing in your family?
Yeah, it is. It was
Yeah.
especially when I guess the whole time I grew up, but especially when I was really young. I didn't eat out at restaurants until I was in high school, so we cooked every single night pretty much, or unless my
Yeah.
parents went out, but, that was the focus, like, making seafood at home, and so it really became something I loved.
That's awesome. Have you ever thought about, like, exploring that, like, full time, like, culinary? Or are you interested in, like, psychology? And I know we
Mhm.
obviously, the viewers don't know this, but when you did your intake form, I saw marketing and all of those things, but is that something that you would do as, like, a side hobby ever?
I've thought about that for sure. It's funny, I have, like, so many interests, and they're all in different
Yeah.
but I've thought about culinary school. I think I don't wanna necessarily go down that route, but
Yeah.
my background is in, it's called human factors engineering. It's like psychology-backed engineering, so really focused on, like, designing things for users. And a lot of those projects I've worked on, I've done ones to, like, create an allergy device or, like, an allergy app
Cool.
or, like, a food tracking app. So kind of with that mindset about allergies, since I'm a good, like,
Yeah.
example, or, like, I can look at my personal experience to, like, help design those things. So, kind of looking at maybe how I can apply what my skills are to, like, a allergy industry or solving problems in the field. And then I'm going to business school to do a marketing degree next year. I just graduated with my other degree, so we'll see, how I can apply that in the future, but it's definitely something I'm interested in.
That's super cool, and you're going to the UK to get your master's. So much to talk about there. Are you excited about it? Are you nervous about it? Like, what does prep look like for that?
I'm fully just so excited about it. I studied abroad and did an exchange program at St. Andrews, that's where I'll be.
Okay.
Um, Last year, I was there for a full year. And so that was kind of my time to, like, get oriented with things, and I really just fell into a routine. It was really hard at the start, like, going to a new country, kind of
Oh, yeah.
realizing food labels are different and whatnot, and then I think now it's just, like, gonna click back to the way it was. It's not as much the figuring out, so,
Yeah.
I'm happy about that, and it should be really
Yeah.
exciting.
That's so fun, and how long is the master's program?
It's a year, like, a school year and a summer, so
Oh,
not
okay.
too long. Yeah.
Okay. That's so fun, and you're getting your master's in marketing?
Yeah.
Okay. So fun, so cool. Like, just the fact that you're able and willing to go to these other places, like, outside of the US with your allergies, like, that speaks volumes to your resiliency and your just ability to go and expand and not let your allergies limit you, which I think is so powerful, especially for people that don't think travel is possible with allergies, and you're proving them wrong, which is awesome, and I think that's such a cool message to share with everyone. So, you mentioned studying abroad with allergies. What did that look like? And just like preparation, planning, all the things.
Yeah, I think you're so right. It's so important to realize it is possible.
Yeah.
I feel like I've tried to not limit myself, but you think about travel and you're like, okay, how do you do it with allergies? Because it can be a lot. I feel like since I've done it a few times, I'm a little more used to it. But studying abroad, I originally the first program I did was in Sweden about 2 years ago.
Okay.
That was my first time to like out of the country, but not in the UK. Like I went to the UK with some family, but other than that, I hadn't left like the English speaking world.
Yeah.
I guess. Um, and that was interesting. I didn't quite know what I was getting into, but I knew I would have a kitchen, and I did, which was totally
Okay.
good. So I ended up cooking a lot of my meals, but I did travel with like a suitcase of food because
Yeah.
I hadn't navigated that before. So I was like, okay, I need to like prepare myself. And that was a good idea, but I think maybe I overdid it a tiny bit. But because I slowly realized that like food products in the grocery store, you can translate the labels and read all of that. Um, and then it can be totally fine, even though
Yeah.
like I was nervous to do it in the first place. And then I use Equal Eats cards to
Yes.
translate at restaurants, which is huge. Um, I'm sure you've heard of them, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, those are great. I didn't know those existed for the longest time, and then I think I saw something on social media about it, and I was like, "This is genius." Like, whoever thought of that is genius.
Yeah, it's amazing. So that's been like my like favorite tool to bring out at a
Yeah.
restaurant. And I've had some like waiters will be like, "Oh my gosh, like what is this? Like I've never seen this before. This is like making it so easy for me." Which is a really cool moment to have because then it like clicks with them that like that's so important.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely, yeah.
yeah. And then yeah, I guess anything else with study abroad, I it was a lot of just research for
Yeah.
how like menus work, how like looking into different restaurants that you can eat at when you're on a trip, kind of planning that and then having a backup plan, whether it's like a kitchen or safe food that you bring. I always like to have kind of two plans going on just in case like a restaurant doesn't work, you can go back and like make a sandwich at wherever you're staying.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like you just have to go in with that mindset, just like it might not be perfect, but what matters is you're there, you're in that experience. It doesn't always matter what you're going to eat as long as it's a safe meal.
Yeah.
It's okay. That's just a little bit different. You just got to keep yourself safe and advocate for yourself.
100%, and I think that's something that not a lot of people talk about is that you go out to eat and you're trying to find a safe option. And I think sometimes we get the misconception that we're looking for the waiter or the restaurant to like make us some fancy meal that we can have. And it's like most of the time it's like a plain piece of meat and like a vegetable or
Exactly.
like, and like that's what it is. And like, I'm not asking you to, do all of these great length things for me. And I feel like, especially since I started posting more on social media, I don't know if you've experienced the same thing. There's a lot of comments of like, I would never ask someone to do this. Why don't you just stay home? Like all of these things. And I'm like, that's not like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, I would love to hear your perspective on that. And especially traveling abroad to other places and people having opinions about it. Cause that's not like a normalized food allergies aren't really a normalized thing in most cultures except here. So I would just love to hear any and all thoughts you have about that.
Yeah, I think it's so important. It's funny the social media thing, just how
Yeah.
negative people can be and how much they want to shut you down and um you just have to put it in a box and be like they don't know what they're talking about. Uh,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think that's important just to try to like ignore it, I guess. Because it really is just up to your own comfort level and
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
like what you want to do with your life and there's different comfort levels. So that's what you should focus on, I guess. And then in different cultures, I'd say the UK was like overwhelmingly like amazing with
That's
allergies,
good.
compared to a lot of places that I've been in the US actually, which
Yeah.
was like
Really?
interesting. Yeah. I definitely I went to school in Boston and then I've grown up in
Okay.
instead of Cleveland, Ohio, and I think a lot of the Boston restaurants are really good, but some of the Ohio ones can be a little less good with allergies or
Yeah.
you can find less things on the menu that are safe. And my allergies are dairy, eggs, and nuts.
Hmm.
So it can get a little limiting with like the dairy aspect. Uh,
Yeah.
so the UK was really it was cool because they would always have like a vegan option on the menu, and that would be the first thing they asked when they got to your table was like, "Do you have any food allergies?" Which was like refreshing to hear,
Yeah.
for sure. And there were some places that were not as good or like overly transparent. I was in Austria and there was one night we went to 8 different restaurants before we found one that would serve me because it was some of them were bad in the sense where they were like there's going to be cross contamination, but you'll be fine.
Right.
It's like no, I won't be fine.
No.
And then a couple were like, we don't feel comfortable serving you because we want to be careful for you, which I appreciate too. So
Yeah.
there's just certain places where I ran into that, and you just keep trying, and we found one that was totally fine, but, it
Yeah.
can be a little frustrating
Wow.
sometimes, yeah.
No, 100%, and I feel like it's so hard, especially when you've grown up with them, to you build so much resiliency of like, "Eh, it's fine, like, we'll just move on and go find a different place." But it's still I think a lot of people forget that it still sucks. Like, it still is frustrating. It's still all of those things. So how in those moments, obviously, when it can be defeating and frustrating, how do you kind of bounce back from those moments, or how have you learned just to accept it, acknowledge that it's happening, and kind of move on from it?
Yeah, it's definitely it's a mindset thing, I feel like it can get
Yeah.
you a little bit. I've tried to surround myself with, like, really supportive people, so I feel like
Mhm.
that has helped a lot, um, and then in certain moments when maybe I'm, like, a little shut down from, like, a bad interaction, my friends have sometimes, like, stepped up to be like, "No, like, we need to do this," and that's a
Yeah.
nice moment to have when there's people like that. And I try to just kind of take certain moments with a grain of salt and be like, "Okay, I've, like, been able to have this experience, go on this trip, or, like, spend time with these people," and I kind of
Yeah.
focus on that more than what I'm eating. Like, if
Mhm.
I can't find something safe, I will just go back, eat at home, and then move on, and just know that that's kind of it can be part of living with allergies. Of course, like, the wins when you go to a restaurant are amazing, but, um,
Yeah.
they're, like having the backup plan is always okay, and it's, like, you just gotta take care of yourself, so I try to just remember that.
No, and I think that's so great and so positive, I think, too, because it's so easy to get into the negative spiral of this sucks, this is awful, and it's yes, it does, but at the same time, there's nothing we can do to change it. And so
Exactly.
it's learning how to be positive and grateful for those experiences in the middle of it. That's something I also had to learn quickly. So I totally get when you said that. I totally get that. You mentioned friendships, and I feel like that's a big part of food allergy living is like friendships, relationships, just whatever it might be. How has your experience been with trying to make friends growing up and even now in adulthood with allergies when sometimes I feel like allergies can be such a big factor in friendships when it shouldn't be.
Yeah, you're right, it can be such a big factor, and some people are very, like, about
Yeah.
it, like, turned away from it. I think, like, growing up, I was always the kid at the allergy table, and I think
Yeah.
in hindsight, that made friendships a little tricky because I wasn't, like, going to sit with friends at lunch, I was going to sit with, like, a group of 5 people who had peanut allergies in the corner.
Yeah.
Um, which made things a little interesting. I feel like I didn't have, like, close friends in, like, elementary school. I had, like, friends, but, like, it was a little harder in that sense. And then, like, in high school, I like, allergies just weren't, like, a factor with that, like, limited the friendships that I made in high school,
Mhm.
which was really good. Um, yeah, I felt kind of like I would go to dining hall and eat alongside the other kids and just felt very normal, which was I
Yeah.
really appreciated that, and, people that I would meet would be most for the most time or for the most part, they were understanding about allergies, and,
Yeah.
I feel like it always takes people a little bit, but then now I'm still friends with a lot of those people, and they've, like, known me for 8 years now, and they know, like, "Oh, you can't have this, but we can try to cook this, or we can try to find a restaurant that's safe for this," which is really, really cool, and then yeah, like adult friendships and in college, that's been
Mhm.
I feel like It's been really good overall
Good.
in college. I think one thing I was surprised about, I guess, is the how everything's food centric in college.
Yes.
You're gonna get free food here, like a lot of that is like a draw for people, of course. For me, like a little bit less so. So you just I had to learn how to kind of navigate that with like the social aspect of that. Uh,
Yeah.
and I feel like the friends I've made have been really understanding though, and it got to the point where I've had friends like call restaurants in advance and like make sure that they were safe for my allergies. Or my best friend from college she always looks up restaurants and she's like, "Let me know if you can eat anything on the menu, and then we'll go, or I'll call." And that's really cool to have like people on your side about that. So you just have to like, I feel like I never keep it a secret with allergies. I'm
Yeah.
always just like, "Hey, this is like part of me, and we just have to deal with it," or like, "It's not going to be your problem, but it's something that I have to navigate." So, um, just like transparency, and then the people who really care about you and care about being in your life will understand. And I think that's like that shows like the type of people they are, which is really cool.
Exactly what you said is like I don't expect them to do anything, but it's like cuz it's my thing to manage. Like I totally understand that, but when they are willing to, "Hey, let me do this for you," or like you don't have to be on all the time of like managing it, like they want to help you. It's such a nice feeling and it's nice to be like cared for and supported and something that you didn't choose to have. So I think that's awesome and I'm so glad that you have people in your life that support you because I think that's so hard to find, especially growing up in a world that didn't always accommodate that. Like I'm 23, so around the same age of there was not much proper labeling and everything when we were growing up. And my mom used to like spend hours in the grocery store figuring out if I could have something, calling manufacturers. So we've come such a long way. And I'm glad that along with that, people have started to accept it a little bit more and it's become just more talked about. But you did talk about like the food centric activities at college. And I think that was something that I was not expecting either. It's just like, come to this event and you get free pizza, or
Mhm.
come to this thing and you get a free ice cream. I'm like, and I can't have that.
Yeah.
But so, how did you, if there were like people going to college that are listening to this, what kind of advice would you give them of just how do you navigate the social situation in college?
Yeah, I think, yeah, I guess when I say like everything's food centric, I don't mean that to scare people, but
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
it is a big thing. And I think I always still, depending on like the severity of your allergy, but I would always still go to those types of events.
Oh, yeah.
And just be like, if it was like a dinner event, I'd be like, "I'm going. I already ate, but I'm gonna be here to spend time with whoever I'm going with." Um, I feel like that was a good way to go about it. And then the school, I went to Tufts, so the school was really good with like the dining hall.
Mhm.
So if they had an event, I could ask them to make me something safe, which was totally fine. So I think you can go about it like that too, for like different school events. Um, or yeah, just like club events. I feel like
Yeah.
some of it, some stuff that like they'll bring will probably be like packaged foods, and other times it'll be like the pizza party. So yeah, I would always just eat before, maybe bring something of my own, and just go to, yeah, spend time with people and focus on that instead.
Yeah, and I love that you said that you would either eat before or, like, eat after and still go and show
Yeah.
up for the person because I think it's so easy to see, "Oh, my friend's having a birthday dinner at this restaurant that I can't go to, I'm just not gonna go." And I think
Mhm.
it's so easy just to fall into that of, like, "I don't wanna worry about it, I don't wanna do all these things." But it's not, like, the easiest thing, but it's not the most difficult thing either to just, like, eat before and still show up for your friends and still go have a good time and not
Mhm.
completely isolate yourself from social situations. Obviously, if you can't be in the same vicinity, that's a very different story. But
Totally.
yeah, I still think that I think that's a really important thing to talk about. So, kind of going off of that a little bit, was there ever a time that you felt like food allergies made your world smaller or just something that a challenge maybe you had to overcome and like what helped you get out of that mindset or just overcome that challenge?
Mhm. I think I think The like, going away to college initially kind of did that
Yeah.
for me. I was really used to being able to cook at home or just, like,
Yeah.
have that safe food, like, constantly. And the dining hall was really supportive. They had a top 9 free station
Oh,
at
that's
school.
awesome.
So that was great, but I think it definitely took me a little longer to build that trust because I would look at that food and be like, "Is it safe?" But, like, of course
Yeah.
it was, and they were, like, trained to make that safe for me. So I think it was just, like, a transition into, like, a new level of comfort for me,
Yeah.
um, where I didn't quite know how to go about it or just how to feel about that or how to feel about sharing a kitchen with, like, a million kids in a
Yeah.
dorm. So it was a little tricky just to, like, figure out what worked and then, like, realize it doesn't have to be, like, the perfect, like, home cooked meal, but you're having safe food, and that's what matters, but it's definitely a mental transition between that, so, yeah, that kind of just put things in perspective for me a little bit more about, like, my comfort level and, like, how I can be in different types of
Yeah.
situations and, um or, like, even at a restaurant, like, different situations and having safe food, but it might not be, like, the ideal, like, home cooked meal that I was used to, which I guess is, um, kinda niche, but yeah, it was interesting to me.
No, that's a valid it's so valid. You go from 18 years of your life cooking food at your house or having your parents cook for you, safe meals, and getting to try new things and be in the comfort of your home or surrounded by people that know you like in and out. And then going to this place where no one really knows you, you're figuring out your allergies, just a lot of change. But I'm glad you were able to like make the most of it. It sounds like from just like figuring out things as it like went and just kinda going with the flow, but did you have roommates, and how was your experience with living with other people and all of that stuff? Because I feel like a lot of people don't talk about roommates and, like, the
Yeah.
dynamics with that.
Yeah, so my freshman, sophomore, I guess all 3 first years, I lived on my own, which was
Okay,
nice. The first year I was in, like, the classic dorm, but it was a single,
okay.
so it's like room, no kitchen kinda thing.
Yeah,
And then I had, like, small apartments the other 2 years, and then
okay,
my senior year, I lived with, like, 4 other girls in, like, a college house,
okay,
and they're people I didn't know as well, just coming off of study abroad, we were just all trying to find housing,
right.
I think that made it a little tricky because they weren't, like, friends that were, like, proofed with, like, knowing that I have allergies and knowing how to navigate that, so it just made it a little trickier. The kitchen was like um it was not a safe zone for me. It was very much like I had to wipe things off on my terms,
Yeah,
know if it was safe, not rely on them to, like, keep things safe. The one thing I did say was, like, peanuts are my severe allergy, so can we just no peanuts in the kitchen, and,
yeah,
people were really nice about that. So I think just, like, communicating was huge, and then just I took it upon myself to, like, make sure that I was safe and, like, wiping things off, and, it's that was really tricky, I'd say, but I
yeah,
tried to make the most of it, so
yeah, and that's I mean, that's all you can do is, like, communicate and do the best that you can, and I think it's nice if they wanna go the extra mile and, like, wipe things off and, like, do those things, but at the end of the day, like we talked about earlier, like, we're responsible for our allergies, and we can only do what makes us feel safe, so, wiping down and all of those things, that's just the joys of living with other people and navigating it all, so, yeah, but I'm glad you were able to also get that experience because that's, like, a cool experience too, is, like, living with other people. The reason why I wanted to start this in the first place is I think when you first tell someone that you have food allergies, you automatically the entire conversation, everything about you becomes about your food allergies. And
Mhm.
that's like 5% of who we are as people, maybe less. And so, what is something outside of your allergies that you have accomplished that you're really proud of, or something about yourself outside of your allergies that you don't get to talk about a lot that you would like to?
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, don't let allergies define you.
Yeah.
I like I mentioned, I love to travel, and, like,
Mhm.
allergies can be a piece of that, but then separate from
Yeah.
that, I love to explore. I always have my camera in hand. I'm a big photographer, so I'm always just like really curious about the world and photographing the world, and I like to
Yeah.
um have the like challenge of new like visiting new places and um like meeting new people and having those experiences. So that's been like one of my favorite things to do.
That's awesome. What's your favorite place that you've been?
I think I think Sweden when I studied
Okay.
abroad. It's cool to just live there for a couple weeks and get into the routine a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was for a photography course, just for fun that I got college credit for. So I never like taken a photography class, and the whole like every assignment was just like take photos at the palace in Sweden or like take photos of this, and we would get to class and just talk about that. And so I got to like nerd out about it a little bit,
Wait,
which was
that's so cool.
yeah,
That's so awesome. That's like a top 5 experience that you get to just see. Not many people can say that they've done that, and, like, that's just so cool. That's awesome.
yeah. So that's one of my
I
favorite
love that.
things.
The I guess this kind of translates into that a little bit, but for someone listening who feels like allergies are holding them back from college, travel, friendships, all the things we've kind of talked about, what is one message that you would want them to hear?
I want you to know that yeah, allergies don't define your life, and there are definitely ups and downs, but you're not alone in that. That like something that we all feel,
Mhm.
and that I want you to know that like things can be possible. You just have to know that life with allergies takes a couple more steps, but that doesn't mean you don't have to be on the same track as other people. And I think that's like an important thing to realize.
Yeah, I think that's so important, especially it's so like the comparison game is so real, like even just life in general. And so I think it's so important to realize that we're all on different paths and that that's okay and we'll all get there. But yeah, so I think that's great. So if you could change one thing about the way people treat or perceive those with food allergies, what would it be?
Yeah, I think I would change the reaction of people, like people hearing about allergies. I'd love to like see more empathy and more understanding instead of just thinking of it as like a big red X and like something that like limits you completely.
Yeah. I think perspective is huge. Like
Mhm.
I mean, there are so many things that go on in this world that make us all different. And it's like, you don't have to possess that thing to just have a little bit of empathy and perspective. So I love
Totally.
that you said that. I think that's great. And last thing, just this is anything that you didn't get to talk about that you would love to talk about. Any questions, comments, literally anything. The floor is yours.
Okay. I feel like I talked about pretty much everything that I like to talk about with allergies. I guess yeah, like we're all young. I guess a lot of us are young, like navigating allergies
Yeah.
for the first time on our own. And I think that's like an important first step. So I think it's just important to check in with yourself like through that process and
Oh, yeah.
know that we're all on the same journey. So and I think like the allergy community on social media has gotten a lot bigger
Oh, well, yes.
as it's become more talked about, and I think that's really cool because we have people doing podcasts like you and people um, like speaking at conferences and people lobbying, and it's such an important time, and I think everything people are doing is so amazing and just a great way to help people who aren't on the platform who are like just discovering this like part of the
Hmm.
community, and just it's incredible. And I think yeah, to anyone watching, just know that there's people there who you can reach out to too.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that because I think that's the whole premise of the allergy community is like we are here to support and uplift and talk about things that you are nervous to talk about or it just feels weird to talk about. And so I'm glad you said that because I think
Mhm.
that's just gets sometimes lost. But I agree. I'm so glad that the allergy community is starting to grow on social media and there's starting to be more people and awareness.
Mhm.
Before we go, I want to give you the opportunity to shout out all of your platforms, whatever you want to shout out. This is your moment to shine, give you all the credit that you deserve.
Yeah, thank you. I on Instagram, my handle is Cook It Up Catherine. I post a little bit on TikTok, and it's also Cook It Up Catherine, but Instagram's my main one. And yeah, everything like my website blog is linked on there too, where I post some recipes here and there. So you can find me.
Awesome. And I will link all of your social media, like Substack, like website, all of the things will be in the description of this episode. So go check that out. Go check out her social media, give her a follow. She's doing great things. And yeah, so thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of this. Thank you for this conversation. I think this is something, so many good things a part of this conversation that are so different than what people are talking about. I know it's not easy to always be vulnerable and open about those things. So thank you. And yeah, there's anything else you want to say before we depart?
Yeah, just thank you so much for having me. This has been awesome. Such a great conversation. I think it's so important to have conversation
Yeah.
allergies, keep it open for everybody. So I love what you're doing. So
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for willing to be a part of this. I know it's not always the most common thing when someone DMs you and it's like, "Do you want to be on a podcast?" So thank you
I
for
get excited about that type of thing. So
I do too, but some people don't. So thank you for being willing to follow my craziness. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Beyond the Label with Asterix. I hope Catherine's story reminds you that food allergies don't have to put your life on hold. They may change the way that you navigate the world, but they don't get to decide how big your world becomes. If this conversation resonated with you at all, I'd love if you shared it with someone who needs to hear it, left a rating or review, or just tagged us on social media, whatever that might look like. Every share helps us get these conversations into the hands of more people living with food allergies or just more people in general and brings more awareness and understanding to the topic as a whole. Next week, I'm joined by Grace, the creator behind Allergy Life with Grace. Grace has built a community by sharing the realities of living life with food allergies, but the conversation that we're going to be talking about goes way beyond what you typically see online. And we're talking about the parts of allergies that no one sees. It's a very raw and honest conversation, I'll tell you that. And it's been one of my favorite conversations that I've had in my life just because we talk about the mental load, the anxiety, the constant second guessing, the pressure to always kind of have it together and be the strongest advocate, even if you still struggle sometimes. And I think it's going to be a really good one. And I think so many of you guys are going to relate to it and be able to see yourselves in the conversation that we have. So definitely stay tuned for that one. But until then, keep living boldly, keep asking bigger questions, and keep living beyond the label. I'll see y'all next week. Bye.